Good evening, everyone. Christ is risen. We are delighted to continue with our study of the work, three talks given by Mother, our schema nun Silouana Vlad, that we've been reading out of the book, God, Where is the Wound? Healing Remedies for Today's World. And we've enjoyed this book so much. And we're thrilled this evening to have a person very, very responsible for this book coming into print, Corina Georgiou. Corina, do I pronounce the last name right?
Yes.
And Corina actually never met Sister Silouana in person, but did get to know a great deal about her and met many people who knew her. And she was encouraged to bring this work to an English-speaking audience, and her husband is actually the translator of the work. And in this whole process of their publishing this book, they've now they're published by Sebastian Press. They've now developed their own press, St. George Press, where they're publishing other works, and we'll let Karina have a chance to talk to us about that a little bit later. Allow me to start us tonight, since it's the eve of the feast of St. John the Evangelist and theologian, beloved of the Lord, to sing the hymn for the dismissal hymn for St. John, and then we'll maybe also sing one of the hymns this week from the Paschal period that we are still going through. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. O Apostle, beloved of Christ our God, hasten to deliver a defenseless people. He that allowed thee to recline on his breast receiveth thee, bowing in intercession. Implore him, O theologian, to dispel the persistent cloud of the heathen, and ask for us his peace and great mercy. When thou didst descend unto death, O life immortal, then didst thou slay Hades with the lightning of thy divinity. And when thou didst also raise the dead out of the nethermost depths, all the powers in the heavens cried out, O life-giver Christ our God, glory be to thee. Lord Jesus Christ our God, we thank you for this evening. And as you allowed your beloved disciple to incline upon your breast and to know your love for him, allow us tonight also, Lord, through Sister Silouana and Karina, our guest, to incline a little bit more as well on your love and your embrace as we understand and hear of the life that Sister Silouana lived, and her teachings, not only from God, Where is the Wound tonight, but also from others through Karina. Bless her, her family, bless all those in our study group who are not able to be with us this evening, and all of our families and everyone we call to mind. For you are the one who loves us all so much that you came to save us. And to you do we give our praise and our thanks, together with your beginningless Father and your all holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and forevermore. Amen. So once again, everyone, welcome. We are going to jump right in, and I'll just tell you briefly the structure after I give Karina a short introduction by reading her bio. We're going to allow her to share with us a little bit of her own spiritual journey and how the role that Sister Silouana played in it, um, and her um, coming to appreciate her more fully, and others who knew her, and any other stories that she'd like to share of her life and of the life of Sister Silouana, and then also some of her wisdom. And we'll have time for questions that people can ask. Maybe we'll do each part in a little section, and we'll stop for questions and then move on. But allow me first just to read to introduce now our wonderful marriage and family therapist and very devout Orthodox Christian who, with the spirit of Sister Silouana, seeks to find the wholeness and the fullness that is in Orthodoxy and in her work and her practice. After working for over 10 years as a dentist in Romania and the United States, guided by a strong desire to learn how to parent her children, Corina Georgiou became a licensed marriage family therapist in the year 2015. She currently works as a psychotherapist with individuals, couples, and groups, and as a Christian life coach in private practice in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. Corina is trained in a variety of mind and body methods. She's interested in brain health and neuroscience. She is a prepare, enrich facilitator and trainer with extensive experience in preparation for marriage and parenthood. Corina's main interest is to serve Orthodox Christians and other Christian denominations and seekers of the deep heart spirituality who struggle with gaining access to modern healing methods that respect Christian values. She is the founder of an online membership, the Deep Heart Space, that offers simple but powerful ways to live Orthodox life in a post-Christian culture. Corina speaks at conferences and offers classes, courses, and retreats. And one day, God willing, Corina, would love to bring you out onto the East Coast and have a retreat, have you as a retreat master for us too. Corina was the spiritual daughter of the recently canonized Saint, help me to pronounce this correctly. It's
So, Sofian Bogiu.
Sofian Bogiu. Abbess Silouana Vlad of blessed memory served as her mentor and teacher. Mother Silouana's forgiveness program is now a part of Corina's work with Christians and anyone open to the Orthodox teachings. She contributes to making her Cradle Roman Orthodoxy known by advising and editing the books translated by her husband. Is Greg short for Grigori?
No, actually it's George.
George, okay.
George, but the nickname is Greg.
Greg. Yeah. And available through the St. George Press. When did you start the St. George Press?
1 year ago.
Just a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll tell us more about
I will tell you how. Yeah.
But my first question to you, maybe you shared this with me before and I just wasn't remembering what is it like to have your spiritual father canonized as the saint of the church?
Yes, it's very touching to me, and
Sure.
I noticed that I'm having difficulties talking about him, and the
Yeah,
same about Mother Silouana. We consider them our spiritual parents, a spiritual father, spiritual mother. Yeah. Um, yeah, it's unbelievable that I met the saint. Well, everyone knew he was a saint, everyone in Bucharest, because the other saint that is more well known, Cleopa,
right.
it's difficult to call them saints when we call them fathers, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I began to say, Saint Father
Right,
Sophia.
right.
Yeah, he called him the apostles of Bucharest because he was in the middle of Bucharest in a monastery, anti-monastery, and teaching us, well, I would say that at least he taught me most of everything I know.
Yeah.
So he was the first one when I started my Orthodox journey, and then later in my life, 8 years ago or so, Mother Silouana. She may be canonized one day. I don't know, but it's good enough even she is not.
You were born in Romania and you went back and forth to America a bit? Or
No,
you were in Romania until moving and staying in America?
yes. Yeah, we came here um 29 years ago.
Okay.
29, so almost half of my life.
Right.
We came here as students, and we never thought of staying here.
Hmm.
But then we had children, and forgive me for saying this, but I decided that I don't want to raise my children in Romania.
Yeah. Back
So,
then, 30 years ago, communism, it was still profoundly affected by communism, right?
yes, I think it still is. It feels like another life for me right now.
Well,
But I think that time when we came to church, because I am a cradle Orthodox, but not really, because I came to my to Orthodoxy when I was 24, because I was raised very anti-Christian, very anti-God, very, maybe more than other families. And when I met Father Saint Sophian, I was already inquiring. I was already interested, mostly in the beauty of the church.
mm,
And when I met him, I never changed. I never went back to living the life I was living. It was my last year in dental school, and that was the year after the revolution in Romania. And it was an amazing time, I think, because many people talk about the grace of God being palpable.
yeah,
I now, looking from this distance, I can tell, I can understand this, but being in the midst of it, I was not able to. And I was not able to appreciate that Saint Sophian was in prison, many years in prison, and he never talked badly about his torturers. He always talked about forgiveness. We didn't even, not that we didn't know, but we
yeah,
didn't consider much that he
yeah,
suffered so much, because we were like, oh yeah, everyone was in prison. But now here, when we see how people are so surprised and so amazed by their lives, now we begin to understand more. Oh, that was quite of a miracle. Um, yeah, but maybe another time, maybe to talk more about Mother Silvana, right?
yeah. I would. That sounds wonderful. I very much like to go back and hear more about
Yeah.
about.
I we figured out, we listened to a lot of Mother Silvana's conferences. Uh, she was very loved by, especially by young people. She talked a lot. She was invited to students' conferences to talk. So there are many conferences. So I don't even know what I know, where is where
Uh-huh.
about her. You know,
Okay.
I'm immersed in her teachings. And recently we figured out that she was there at the monastery where we were going around 1990, a little bit after, because at some point she was the spiritual father of Saint Sophian.
Wow.
Yes, so we figured this out recently. But sure, we never met her. It was a age difference anyways. So yeah, but to me it's fascinating. And it is a metropolitan who was there at the monastery, and he continued to help the nuns, because Mother Silvana's nuns to this day, they do counseling. And this is very unique for Romania, especially for Orthodox nuns to do counseling. This center continues now. Yes. So
When you say it continues, it functions uh,
so
as a mental health facility. It functions,
yes, mental health.
but more.
They call it a counseling because they are not licensed therapists. It's the center, Michael and Gabriel, the Archangels Counseling Center. Yeah. We're in contact. I'm in contact with the new abbess and with Mother Frema because when Mother Frema Georgia met her here, we invited her here to do some talks. When Mother Silvana got very sick, she put me in contact with this Mother Frema to help me with the forgiveness, with mainly with the forgiveness, because Mother Silvana was very excited for me doing this forgiveness, continuing her forgiveness program. So I have their help, which is amazing. And how we help them is by all the profits from these books go to them because they don't even have a monastery. Yeah.
Is,
So
is
yeah.
this book sold out right at the moment, or
I'm not sure because this is the first book, and Saint Sebastian Press has now the
the rights?
rights, the author rights. Yeah, we only got a percentage of these books. I don't know if it's sold out, but that would not be unusual. I mean, this may be the second time. I don't know. I think my husband in his press has a few more left. And if you want, you have to go to St. Sebastian Press.
Same nonsense, remember with JD
Okay,
in the campaign.
Barbara, you are now joined, but you're also not. You're unmuted right now.
Okay, let me mute myself. Can you
Thank
mute me?
Yes, I should. I
I'm on
should
my
be.
phone.
I can mute you. All right.
Yeah.
So, Karina, a couple other thoughts that just crossed my mind. I think the Romanian um, elder that I have come to know the most, I've read certainly um, about Elder Cleopa, but it was uh, Father Roman Braga. And
Yes.
Was Father Roman connected with Saint Sophian and others, or was he in a different place? I know he spent time also in communist prison.
Yes. He was very good friends with Father Saint Sophian. We met him once when Father Sophian came to do some surgery at the Dormition in, I think, close to Ann Arbor.
In Michigan, sure.
In
Yeah.
Michigan,
Yeah.
yeah. And I heard that they were very good friends, but that's all I know
Okay.
because one came here and the other one stayed in Romania.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is unique about him, Father Sofian, is that he was admired even by communists. Can you imagine? And he was so had this discernment and this he never talked badly about anyone,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that was a way of surviving in Romania.
But
Yeah.
if he had true love for his enemies, then that showed the depth of
Yes, I
his
think so.
life
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Christ.
Yeah. And Father Roman Braga, he came here. I don't know many details, but maybe you know the book. It's a book.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes.
I've read that
Yeah.
book. I've met Father Roman, and have gotten to know some of his spiritual children quite well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of the about the Romanian orthodoxy that I think each country has its own flavor, so to say.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I see that many Americans are very interested in this orthodoxy, in this, yeah. And I think Mother Silvana, if to go back to her, so maybe you saw in the introduction, I heard about her.
In your
I
preference.
long ago, but I was not really interested. I was doing my psychology, and I was just not interested. And one day, this friend of mine, I called her and I said, I met Mother Silvana. I'm so excited. I'm starting the forgiveness program with her. And my friend was surprised because she thought that Mother Silvana was dying. And the truth is that she was almost dying. But for some reason, God gave her more years. So she passed 3 years ago. And at least for me, was doing this forgiveness program. I think that this is something for all of us to not only to learn how to forgive, but to learn how to be practical in our beliefs, not to just be in our head and want to be wonderful and want to be like the saints we read about, because they didn't get there easily, you know? So Mother Silvana, I don't know how to explain. I've been with her only a few years. I stayed in contact with her after the forgiveness. I did the forgiveness. She was very happy that I'm a therapist, which was a surprise for me, because usually, I mean, many monastics are maybe not
Skeptical.
against, but
Yeah.
you know how
Very
it is.
skeptical.
Skeptical, yeah, skeptical. And what is interesting is that she came into my life at a time when I really needed support and validation for what I was doing, because I was doing a lot of work, and always my view was, I don't know if I can say orthodox, but it was, I think I learned so much from Father Saint Sophian that I don't even know. I feel like everything, most of what I know is from him through osmosis, you know?
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And I was not clear, not sure how to integrate my learning, my knowledge, the different methods, because I'm more eclectic and I'm very curious and interested in different things. I'm learning different things. And I saw that each method has something maybe given to some people by God's grace, a little bit of knowledge, a little bit here, a little bit here.
Like little insights or glimmers of the
Yes,
fullness of the truth, but
yes,
it's just a little bit of
yes.
the light.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then they start a certain method. And
Mhm.
some of these methods are wonderful, are very applicable and
Mhm.
aligned with our faith, but not all of them are.
Right, right.
And I began to be concerned about this, you know? So, and my spiritual father was telling me to keep doing what I'm doing, to expand my knowledge, and to bring orthodoxy into psychotherapy the best I can. I'm still trying, but for his prayers, maybe. So that was the context when she appeared in my life. And the other thing was that I was told by an abbot, I don't know if I want to say his name, someone who met us. We met many, many years ago, shortly after we came from Romania, and was a great support for me personally. And a few months before I met her, he told me, now it's time to forgive everything and everyone. And he knew the difficulties I had. And he knew that I'm far from willing, even willing to forgive, if you can imagine. Although I was going to church, I was confessing, I was taking communion or using all the sacraments. But it was something in me that was very, very difficult from my early childhood to forgive. And I didn't know what to do. I keep looking for different ways, and I read different books, and so everything seemed to me very dry,
Yeah.
very, very dry, and not complete, so to say.
This is helping us to understand your forward a little bit more. Your preface.
Oh, maybe,
You
yeah.
touched on this in your preface, but it very very for your forward, but not in
Yeah.
depth. So,
Well, I can talk a lot about this, but I don't know. I don't know if it's necessary. And sure, everyone can ask me questions. For me, it's and I think not only for me, the guides I have, and I'm very careful about what I'm doing with people, what methods I'm using, and I see how difficult it is. For example, this forgiveness. It's a very healing for forgiveness. It's very difficult for many people. And maybe it's more difficult because this is not an Orthodox country, and this is also difficult because people have a lot of trauma that they may know of or not. And they don't know how to bring this into their life, into the open, to the priest,
right,
and to
right.
themselves. So what I think is that Mother Silvana's is not that I think. I mean, everyone says this, and the nuns, her nuns,
Or nuns.
that this may be her most amazing work. And so I
Can I
didn't know.
interject here just for a moment?
Sure,
So
please.
to flesh just this out a little bit more. Her insights into forgiveness and perhaps the connectedness of all of humanity in our fallen condition. So how essential it is that we need continuously to be forgiving each other
Yes.
because we all share in this fall. We're all in the same place. We're all in the same condition. And who are we to be holding on to something that somebody else has done to us when, we're in the same time, sinning and transgressing and affecting others with our own thoughts and actions and so.
This is exactly what it is. But the problem is that many people are not there. And for sure, I was in church and I was not there,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? So she 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 was able to bring everything together. Science, common sense, which I think this is the most like is missing, For example, I always say, oh, neuroscience says that the first reset of the nervous system is a sigh. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking, whoa, do we need neuroscience to give us permission to sigh when the
Right.
body sighs? you know? So something like this.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
example that came to me.
Yeah.
It's not easy for people to forgive. And my priest told me, I got him excited after I met Mother Silvana and I worked with her. And he wanted us to start to do some workshops, forgiveness workshops in church. So that's what we did, a little bit here and there. And
When you
then,
say we, you and your husband?
no, the
No.
priest, I mean,
Oh,
me, but he was the one
I see.
with the support, with everything, you know?
Father Saint Sophia.
No,
No?
my spiritual father from here, Father
Oh,
Michael
Father
Ford,
Michael here
from
in
our
America.
parish. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was the one that was always there for me, always supporting me, even when I couldn't support myself. So he was the one to always encourage me, always encourage me. Use your knowledge to bring orthodoxy. So that was the context of me getting to meet Mother Silvana,
Oh, I see.
and he was the one who suggested me to translate, to make
Oh, okay.
her known to
Yeah.
the US.
Yeah.
And I told him that no, not in 30 years I would be able. But guess who? My husband.
Yeah.
Because his English is very good. And also because he was complaining that he only works and doesn't do anything to fill in his soul.
Yeah.
So see how God gave him this,
Mhm. That's wonderful.
because I have to say he changed a lot since he translated. A lot.
Yeah,
A
I
lot.
can see that. I
Yeah,
can see that.
yes, yeah.
Not that I knew him before. I say I can see how
Sure, you can
this
see
material, how could you
Yes,
not, if you're
yes,
translating this material, have it speak to your heart at the same
yes. It's
time?
impossible. It's impossible not to. So you see, everyone was somehow touched. And I was touched. I don't remember what I heard on YouTube. I wish I did, but I don't. I can't remember. But from the first, few words, I got hooked.
Yeah.
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 So you
I've
see
shared
how
I've
she
shared
came
2
in.
or 3 of her videos that are on YouTube where they have
Mhm.
English subtitles and she's speaking in
Yes,
Armenian.
yes. They have a channel.
There's a whole channel.
Yes.
It's one thing to read her words. It's another thing to listen to her, even if you don't understand Romanian. Just there's so much that's communicated. I mean, we laugh when
Energy.
we read this book. We sense her humor and her what's her she's how can I say almost quirky. I mean, she's just her own
Exactly.
person,
That's
right?
it. Exactly. That's a
Yeah,
perfect word.
yeah,
And
yeah,
because of this, she was not liked by everyone. She
yeah.
was not liked by the academia,
I see.
So she was,
Not
yeah,
stuffy enough. Not
yeah,
not
yeah.
not somehow seeing her education and her understanding as placing her in a different place, which is a big temptation for people. Knowledge puffs up, as St. Paul says. Yeah.
Yes, yes, sure. She was very educated. This book, God Wears the Wound, surprised me because I know a few methods that she's referring to. But you see, she's so humble that she never says, this is from here, this is from here. But she's very philocalic.
Yeah.
She put together, in one conference, she says that God gave her the gift to take in a lot of information and then digest it somehow and offer it to the people.
Yeah.
And that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
Because
No.
when you hear her, you see her passion. She's so real. And this is exactly how she was in her communication with me. To be honest with you, today I listened to a lot of the voicemails that she left me.
Oh, how nice.
Uh, I heard her voice getting weaker and weaker. I
Mm.
never realized how weak she was, to the end, towards the end.
But she was still calling you. She was still leaving messages, even though her health was declining.
It was the year of COVID, when it started. I mean, it was very difficult for all of us, and for me was very difficult too for a variety of reasons. Um, but what I want to say is that this quirkiness, I really love this word. Someone asked me, whoa, can an Orthodox be so sarcastic?
Right.
Oh, I didn't know they can be. But if you know Romanian, you would see. And it was very difficult for my husband to translate because she uses the jargon, idioms, Romanian.
Right.
So it was
Right.
very difficult. But this person asked me, and I thought, oh, yes, everyone has a flavor. Everyone, even the saints are very, very humorous, as we know. But I told him, I think she was able to pull this off because she had a lot of love.
Yeah. Yes,
But
that's so
she
true.
was very loving, but very direct, extremely direct. Not pampering, but extremely loving. I can't really explain how. And it's not only me, but I felt supported. I felt normal. I felt that I'm able to tell her the most difficult things in my life, maybe the most shameful, and
Yeah.
also to write about them because she was doing this in writing.
Right.
Well, I think the best would be one-on-one, but
Yeah.
that was not
Yeah.
possible at the time. And the way she was so real, so normal, because I think we're missing something very simple and real in our lives. And that was something that she was an advocate for in her own life. She never liked this lukewarm things.
No.
She would always call on me if I go there,
Yeah. She'd
telling
call
me,
you out.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, you're there, but you still cling to the old ways,
Yeah.
you know? So it's very important for someone to tell you in your face because we want to believe that we're much better than we think we are. Is
So
this
true.
spiritual bypass, you
Right.
know? The this is her contribution to talk about taboos,
Right.
about
Right.
childhood trauma,
I've never read,
children
but no, I'm sorry. I was interrupting you. Please continue.
abused by parents, which we don't talk about.
Right. Right.
We cover everything under honor your mother and father, but there are things there that many of us avoid,
Right.
or the psychologists go there and the priest doesn't go there. So
Right.
she was able to talk about those things in a normal way, to bring attention on them and to help people. She was talking about, people were asking her, this is a nun. Why is she talking about sex? And I
Right.
think many young people were interested in, loved her because she was talking about sex. But
Right.
she was talking about sex, about the beauty of connection, of love between two people,
When we were reading along in the book and we got to that one thing where she's talking and then she just uses a story and talks about masturbation and
Yes,
you don't hear that. You just don't hear people so openly that even
yes,
though, as you
yeah.
say, this is something that connects with so many.
Exactly. So you see, there are people who are very prude, and they don't want to go there. They can't. But think about this. She lived in the world for 50 years. She
Oh,
lived like one of us.
yeah.
She found God later in her life
Yeah.
because she was an atheist. She was, um, raised in a communist country. She was a philosopher. She was a professor of philosophy. So her desire to meet God, I think this was the desire of her life, but she didn't know how to. She
Yeah.
didn't until she met him. And when she
Yeah.
met him, she became like a truly, like we talk about the saints, flames.
Right.
a flame.
Like St. Paul on the road to Damascus, a lot of zeal just heading the wrong direction. But as soon as, boom, the
Yeah.
Lord reveals himself, he turns it all around.
Yeah, yeah, maybe something like this to her too. And it was a need, and young people need to be able to talk about some difficult things, you know, and not to be shamed, but not to be encouraged. Oh, that's stress release or
Right,
something like
right,
we
right,
are, you
right.
know, kids are educated nowadays. So I think this was one of her greatest contribution
Yeah, yeah,
to put to you know to bring to attention things that are very difficult, even abuse between husband and wife
yeah,
in a marriage, which you know it was very common in the old times. um Not in the old times, in the recent times, in the old countries.
yeah, yeah.
um
If we can transition a little bit, Karina, it's about 7:48 right now, and we normally go until about 8:30. Well, I'm wondering what you feel willing and able to share in terms of her wisdom that especially spoke to your heart.
yes,
Those
I was thinking
words that you've
about,
lived your life on since.
yes, yes. um on my website, it's a talk. A few years ago, I did a talk on this book. And I don't remember a thing I said, but I remember that I felt very inspired, that God gave me some inspiration. I mean, He gives,
Yeah,
He gives, you know, we just take it. If I would put Mother Silvana in a little bit of a little bubble, or I don't know how to say, would be life as liturgy. Because
yeah,
you see, we talk about discovering our issues, being able to put them on the table, you know, bring them from the unknown to the known, unconscious to the consciousness. But then what do we do with them? Because this is the question, even in psychotherapy. You go to psychotherapists year after year, you try different methods. Okay, then you know about yourself.
yeah.
So it's all on the table. It's like, and then what? I have people asking me, and then what? And then what?
Right. You've
She
given me a
has the
lot of
answer.
labels and
So she has the answer. And this is not a new answer. It's the old answer, but she makes it very practical in this way. Live life. Life is a liturgy. So we discover, it's this discovering, offering ourselves everything. I love to say the good, the bad, and the ugly, especially this ugliness, and
yeah,
not wait to become saints and to meet the Lord and have a relationship with Him. And then, I mean, you know, first deal with ourselves. So, is this life as liturgy? Offer everything you know about yourself, every second, every moment, everything. Difficult situations, difficult feelings, everything that's difficult. But also, it comes a time when you start offering everything that's wonderful, you know, maybe later on. Offer, offer to the Lord and wait for the Holy Spirit to come.
yeah.
These are the stages of the liturgy. So offer, do nothing more than offering, and keep praying.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what it is. I know a lot about myself. What do I do with it? I offer it to the Lord. I leave it on His altar, and He will transform everything. This is life as an inner liturgy. And we can do this. And you see, there are so many prayers in this book, and we can use them or we can make our own. for example, Lord, come into my frustration. For example, when I'm in traffic, here in LA, it's a lot of traffic. Lord, come into my sadness. Lord, teach me. Lord, I have this heart. I have this pain in my heart. I have something in my hip. I haven't. Lord, I offer you this pain. Everything. Sensations, feelings, thoughts, images, everything we offer.
So when you say we offer it, and someone might hear you and think, all right, I've got a pain in my back right now. I can say, Lord, I offer this to you, but what you're saying is underneath that, it's not just these words, it's I'm going to open up my pain to you and trusting that there's something in the pain. Like she says, the pain has a teaching for us. It has a lesson for us.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. Everything we can turn into a problem, a disaster, get stuck
Right.
into that, or we can say, I feel stuck. Lord, come here, help me, teach
Yeah.
me. Lord, I have this pain. What am I gonna do? Should I go to the doctor or should I go to the chiropractor? Or I mean, not exactly like this, but this is a way of some prayer. And I'm not saying not say the Jesus prayer for sure, but everything, every situation of my
Yeah.
life can become a place of meeting with the Lord, especially
Right.
the pain. That's where she keeps saying this. That's where he comes in the pain.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And not just her. It's all the saints. It's the same
exactly,
path. It's
exactly,
the same path for
exactly.
all of them.
Just she has a way to bring it very, I would say, down to earth,
Yeah.
very practical.
This reminds me, we have Georgia on the line tonight, and I know that you've joined in Georgia's prayer group and studying,
Yeah.
so forth. And Georgia and I and her husband Philip have known each other for been almost 40 years now, I guess, right,
Oh,
Georgia?
wow.
Close to that. Anyways, one of the things that Philip has used in counseling other people, and he's helped me, and even my wife, Presbyterian Kristen, and I in our own marriage, is that when we hit those impasses in married life, when we get to that place where there's just an obstacle and there's no way otherwise, and we're our the society around us orients us to think, this is a big problem, and maybe we're not even supposed to be married because, whatever.
Yes.
When you come to Philip with one of these problems, and he just says, "Welcome to marriage." You know, he said, "This is what marriage is. It brings us to these points in our life where on our own we can't get beyond this. So we have to find God. We have to refocus, reorient, and learn how to get around this, not on our own, but only by His
Mhm.
grace."
And Mother Silvana has a solution for these sort of problems and for everything. The
Yeah.
blessing. I'm using this. One of my clients called this the bless technique. Blessing everyone, no matter what you feel, what you think. Bless them, bless them. You
Right.
have a fight, something is between you and your spouse, and just bless them, bless them. I don't know if you reached the point in the book with the ladle. You did?
With the
A
ladle.
ladle of a woman who hits her husband. I don't want to spoil it for you. It's a very funny story.
I
So
think I remember. Yeah, I remember laughing at that,
yeah.
but I don't think we've gotten there quite yet. We're up to page 134.
Yeah, I don't remember where it
134.
is, but
Yeah.
this blessing is another amazing thing. And I'm using this. This is a cognitive behavior therapy in which you bring the grace. Instead
Yeah.
of counting to 10, you say bless.
Right.
So the Holy Spirit will come when it's called in the person and in the relationship.
Saint Sophrony
Hmm.
and Father Zacharias quotes him and tells us so much about him, but he would say something very similar, right? We have to turn the difficulties and the problems in this life into spiritual energy. You know, we
Yes,
take like this
yes.
worldly energy and we just reorient it.
Yeah, don't waste anything. Don't waste any problem. Turn it into, yes, and I think mother, not I think, I know, she was somehow on that line of thinking
Right.
from Saint Sophrony, Saint Silouan, Saint Sophrony.
Yeah.
Because now if you hear this, you can see the similarities. Turn everything into something, into a prayer, into something spiritual.
Right.
Yeah. I wish I told you more, but
No, this
forgive
was
me,
good.
I'm not I didn't feel very organized. It's very touching for me still to talk about her.
Yeah. We can
But
see,
if anyone has questions, you
yeah,
know,
now's
you
a
can
good
give
time.
them
Let's,
my now and maybe later
we will
through
share.
email. Yeah.
Yeah, I will share with the whole group your contact information, and if you just search Karina Georgiou, spell her name right.
That's a problem. It's Romanian spelling.
Yeah. You'll come to her website and you'll see a lot more. But we're going to open it up at this point from everything you've heard, or maybe nothing that you heard tonight, but reading in the past. Whoever would like to ask her a question or to make a comment, I'll be quiet.
Please dare.
Maybe
Many
there's
times,
something going on in your own life right now that
yeah.
is preoccupying you, but if you could concisely share that, maybe Karina remembers something from Sister Silouana as well to speak to. Sophia?
I was trying to get my camera to work. Hi,
Okay.
it's
Hi,
very nice
Sophia.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I think what I got out of the book when I was reading it was like drawing myself stronger into the faith of Orthodoxy and coming from a place of trauma for myself in my childhood. It was more of that, like Father Theodore said, it was like she had a way of taking our hurts and our pains, and everybody has trauma. I don't know that anyone has a perfect childhood or a perfect life. They may not admit it, but I think that's what she gave me when I read the book, was the freedom to go to confession and the freedom to admit, and then to heal from that, and then to move forward. That was what I felt from that.
Wow, that's exactly, you were confirming exactly what I said. You know, I just want to say everyone has wounding, you know that in Greek, trauma means wound. So
Right.
I began to use more the wound, not to get into the psychological jargon.
Right.
But so everyone has something. No family is perfect. Sure, only God is perfect. We know this, if we want to admit it or not. But some people have more trauma than others, and that is the difficulty, because someone may not be understood. Someone may need years until they forgive.
Yeah, that's
This
me.
is my case, and it's okay. It's okay. But
Yeah.
we still have to at least intend to forgive, in the sense of let go. Because I don't know about you, but I have children, and my life was guided by having children. And I see how I was led and everything in my life, and where my life goes now. So I didn't want to transmit what I got, you know, I needed to stop a cycle of abuse, you know, and
Yeah.
she confirmed to me, I mean, she confirmed, I didn't even know what to ask, that when we do this, when we assume our suffering, you know, we will not, we will live it like a martyrdom for some, you know, and we will finish that. Our children will not, we will not pass that with freedom to find their way. And if we don't have children, others around us. But this is essential, and that's why I think this is the most important thing in our thing, I don't know how to say, in our life, to forgive, no matter what, and to be honest, to say, Lord, I cannot forgive, help me want to forgive, be willing to forgive.
Yeah. I
Would
like
you
the
say,
story. Oh, sorry.
go ahead, Sophie.
Well, there was a story that she gave about confession being like, oh, I think it was a watermelon. The more you confess, isn't that right? Okay.
Yes,
That's
it is
exactly
the
what I was
Father
thinking. Yes,
Claudius.
thank you, Sophia.
It
The
like
watermelon.
floats in water, and the more you confess, then more things kind of come up out of the water. Yeah.
Yeah, this is she loved also, she Father Cragiopoulos, if you know about his
Father
books.
Simeon. Yeah.
Simeon, yeah. And I think she gave his example. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We become lighter and lighter. We let go of these burdens. We think, oh, it's not okay for me to be angry, to have hateful feelings. Well, that's what it is. It's our biology, it's the consequence of trauma. But do we want to stay there? Because some therapists say, you don't need to forgive. I don't think we want to stay there because we're still burdened. We know, but we're burdened. So this is the only way. She opened the way for us to be more willing, trustful, that it's okay to be exactly how you are, feel whatever, because God knows. Who are we kidding?
I think, Karina, forgiveness is such a profound thing, right? Um, if we're called to imitate Christ, if we're called to follow Christ, is it perhaps not the thing that more than any other thing that we can do in this lifetime to actually be like God is when we forgive? So we're bringing God's love into the world, the more we're able to forgive. And part of that is when it's related to judgment, right? Because we have to suspend our judgment in some way. I think this comes from St. Paisius, but I'm not remembering positively this idea that we have no idea what baggage other people are walking around with. Only God knows how well they're doing with the baggage that they've been given. So I find myself repeating that all the time, especially talking to people in confession. So God may see somebody who's struggling greatly, but know how much struggle they're really putting into it to do the few good things that they're doing.
Yes.
But only
Yeah.
he sees that, and he knows someone else who may have been given so many, so much grace in their life and love, but maybe negligent with the amount of, they're not carrying nearly as much baggage, but that person easily could compare. We can compare ourselves to others and think, oh, as if it's all a level playing field, right? And it isn't.
You know, Father, this forgiveness thing is, I keep asking the Lord to give me the good questions. Not yet. about what this is, healing through forgiveness. This is learning how to live life, how to deal with everything that comes to us. Before I can forgive everyone, to say, Lord, I cannot forgive without you. I do my part. You have to do the rest. Because she told me many times, I was complaining, oh, I don't think I'm forgiving yet. And it was the second session. We have 8 sessions, you know, complaining. And she was, no, keep doing what you're doing, and God will do his part. You know, and it takes time, it takes patience from us. And we have her voice to say, that's all you need to do. Do something. Continue to do this. But then wait for the Lord. Because patience is a virtue. And that's how we learn. But it's much more. Forgiveness is this is love. She kept saying that forgiveness is the highest form of love for a human being.
Yeah.
It's unconditional. I mean, that's what, it has to be.
We have someone on our
Yeah.
talk tonight who asked the question. She's curious to hear about the process of self-forgiveness after confession and absolution.
Ooh, this is so difficult. And I hear this, I get this question all the time. So I will just give this is very individual, you know, and we need to forgive ourselves. If you go to confession and the Lord forgives you, right? I mean, Father tells us this. But then my sins are forgiven, everything. But what about holding on to that? What do I do with that? I have to offer that. I can start with, Lord, teach me how to forgive myself. And I keep thinking of this, just this thing. So I'm told to forgive everyone, right? Everyone. Why wouldn't I be one of them?
Right.
Am I not one of them to
Right.
forgive? Am I not the child of God? But you see, I think the more we're traumatized, the more difficult it is to forgive ourselves, because we may hear this from different sources. You're unredeemable. God will never forgive you for what you did.
Yeah.
So these are not God's voices, and we have to learn these are the people who hurt us voices, who put this in us. And the process is to let go of this too.
Right.
Because how, so I have these blessings and from Mother Silvana to do this and to expand her word. So I'm thinking a lot about those things. Yeah. So what I'm thinking, once I had this image of like everything that's there in me. Yeah. I have this, I don't like myself. I hate myself. I have so many desires and ambitions, and I want to be better than I am. Spiritual bypass, for example. So then everything, if I notice that, I cleanse. This is the process of cleansing the heart, right? The fathers tell us. So is, Lord, look what I find here. Look what I find. And maybe next confession, I will say this next. And the humility. Who am I not to accept that the Lord forgave me? You see, it's a little of reverse pride here. I'm unredeemable. I'm the worst. I'm so different,
The fathers say that there's really 2 poles of pride, right? And the one pole of pride we're much more aware of, the person who sees themselves as the center of the universe, they boast and they brag, they get offended.
We know this, Father, right?
Everyone revolves around them. But the other pole of pride, which is so much harder to detect, is when we have this hidden pedestal of how we're supposed to be. And when we don't live up to our own expectation, our pedestal, where we want to see ourselves, then we condemn ourselves.
Yes, and we condemn and we stay in the programs, inherited programs.
Right.
So part of stepping out of them, releasing, forgiving is to release what's in me, because that's a program. It could be, I need to be perfect, or different, so many different things. So that's why I'm saying it's something very personal. But if you think about this verse, everything that's in me, bless the Lord. So
Yeah.
everything that's in me, I can say, bless the Lord.
Yeah.
My lack of forgiveness of myself, my
Bless the Lord.
bless the Lord, bless the Lord. Lord, look at me. I cannot accept your forgiveness. Look at me. How terrible that I cannot accept your love. The love that I want, because we all long for love, right?
Yes.
It's an eternal drama. It's a big drama. But the Lord is there in the lack of unforgiveness.
You hear people say when someone's struggling with something, or someone's, oh, God bless them. God bless them. Just like, I don't need to make this my issue or my problem.
Yeah, but when it is in us,
Yeah.
it's very different, because it's in us. What's in us, that is like, can fester. And it's important to know that this is a process, just the willingness. I can go and confess, and this happened to me many times, like to go and confess, Father, for I don't know why, but I cannot forgive myself. I don't
Right.
like myself. And the
Right.
Father will tell me in confession what I need to hear, and then I feel relieved. Maybe a few months later, who knows, I may go through the same. But there are thoughts that we have not to receive. We have to learn. These thoughts come, I'm bad, I'm this, I'm that. No, thank you. And Mother Silvana told me this quite a few times. She said,
Yeah.
these are not yours. You do
Yeah.
not receive, period.
Right.
I'm saying period because
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So it's an inner warfare, right?
Right. The watchfulness and
The
discerning
watchfulness.
which
And
thoughts are of God and from God, and which are
yeah,
not. And
and
those
it's
other
not
ones we just
easy.
reject.
When someone is abused, it's not easy to be able to discern because
Yeah.
of these burdens put. You're
Right.
bad, you're good for nothing, you're this, you're this. I don't know if this is the situation of the person who asked this question, but I'm saying this is the most common thing.
Yeah. When I'm when I read, there's the prayers of absolution. I found myself, there's one prayer that says, "May God forgive you in this present life and then in the age to come," and I find myself translating that in a different way. The Greek, I think, is flexible enough. I say, "Let God forgive you," because it's the same thinking that I know how hard it is for so many of us to actually allow ourselves to be forgiven. It's one thing to understand God is forgiving, but it's another thing to actually accept that we're forgiving and
Yes, in the
believe and trust
relationship.
it enough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's me and God. It's in that relationship. For example, oh, I know God is love. Oh, I know. But I don't believe that he really loves me and he has time for me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I want to say something because to me, this is fascinating. The prayers of our church are forgive them for everything they know and don't know. So we have that coverage, I would say,
Right.
because so
Right.
many things are in our subconscious and we don't know. So the
Yeah.
Lord, in his goodness, gave these prayers.
Yeah. Forget what we've
Yeah.
forgotten and what we're not even aware of. The priest still asks that we be forgiven for those things.
So we're covered. That's
Right.
what I want to say.
Right. Right.
Not to become lazy, but also to soothe a little bit of our fears.
One of my father confessors doesn't let me finish my confessions. He never lets me actually, and sometimes it's really frustrating for me because I at least want to like say it, you know, you want to like put yourself through that pain and that difficulty. And you know, he's like brushing it all aside because he's trying to say, regardless of what it is, you are forgiven. You are forgiven. Just now change. Just choose what, you know, another way. There's another question. Can you further explain what forgiveness looks like in real situations? Can you give us an example? Thank you. Angela, do you want to explain your question a little bit more?
Yes, it's
What do you mean by
too.
real
Yeah,
situations?
yeah. If you can give a little bit of an information there, because I thought you wanted me to explain the whole program,
No,
but
well, that would be nice. But thank you for all your words tonight. They're just beautiful. I guess what I'm saying is when we talk about forgiving, whether it's ourselves or somebody else, what does that look like? So that if you're in a dialogue with that person that you're trying to, you know, have forgiven, and you're falling into the same not beneficial roles, like in your family, for example, like you kind of fall into that time and time again. So how does my behavior look or change in reaction to the way that I'm, you know, normally interacting, which leads down the road of not a good place to be? So, you know, how do you address the other person? What does forgiving the other person look like in your own behavior? And then also what to expect in return in terms of the person's behavior.
wow, these are amazing questions. You know, it is a reason for Mother Silvana creating this huge thing program that is a lifetime, you know. We need to, first of all, to understand very clearly what forgiveness is and is not. Because many times we're kind of confused, you know. What you are bringing up is one of the most difficult things because you're talking about someone, family, interactions of and patterns. We are all programmed and we start it a dynamic. We have dynamics of behaviors. And many times I hear couples, because I work a lot with couples, butting heads, you know, power struggles. So one has to give, I'm not saying give in, give up, but one needs to start something. So how that would look like, depending on the relationship, if it's possible, a little bit of a distance would be good to clear the air. And this is what she says. Mother Silvana says that this is so you will not allow someone to keep poking your wound, and also for the other one to keep hurting and sinning. You see? So if this is possible, sometimes it's not possible, but taking some physical distance, if possible. If not, taking timeouts. I love timeouts for couples, you know? But this time it's like, oh, I need some space. Or you say it in a nicer way, you know, and you make it's almost like a contract. I do contracts with couples. So in this way, they know I'm not abandoning you. I'm not slamming the door though, you know? So I know what I do, what this looks like. So that would be one thing. If it's not possible, is this blessing? You start blessing this person who you have trouble with. Start, Angela, today, right now. But I'm not kidding. I've seen miracles with this blessing. They don't have to know. You don't tell them. You don't say it loudly, especially to a teenager, because I had a situation like this and it was disaster. So just you bless the person, and try to extract yourself. And then you may need to do the whole forgiveness program. Or start with this. Start with the blessing, take yourself out. If you see that the dynamic starts, as soon as you see it, and this could be part of this watchfulness, difficult when we are butting heads, but extract yourself from the situation. And your behavior would be, oh, I don't know what you do. Raise your voice. Maybe you don't raise your voice. You go. Mother Silvana gives this story of a village where all of a sudden the relationships between men and women were amazing. Like no problems. And I forgot, someone went to the bishop and said, that priest must do magic or something there. And they went to see what's happening. Guess what the priest, the solution, what was the advice? Woman, when he comes drunk or something, as you know, Romania, or whatever the situation is, the dynamic there, you take some holy water and you keep it in your mouth until he goes to bed. So that was the magic.
I love that.
Yes, but it's very difficult. I don't know about you. For me, it's not that easy. Someone tell me that I'm more like fiery, like Mother Silvana. I don't know. We know that she had a big temper, and she was always saying that, oh, I want to be like kind and soft, but I'm not. What can I do, So she struggled with that. So this
I
is
don't think I'll
again.
fall into that category either.
Okay. So you see, maybe you need some holy water or just to leave the place, Us about the other person's behavior, this we know for sure what it is. No expectation. Forgiveness is unconditional. We forgive no matter what they do. This is between me and the Lord, between you and the Lord, more than between you and the other person. Because it's about you. You have these difficulties that stay. I always think in these terms. What is there between me and the Lord? I learned this from a very, very kind of, I don't know if it was even New Age, but something like that thing, that I was babbling into. And I took it and I said, Lord, heal everything, everything that's between me and you. I want to let go of. That's all I can say. I mean, that's not easy. And I think many of us, and we have the tendency as human beings to want to fix, we're in the fixing business. Especially I am, right? I mean, but no, this is not a fixing. This is a healing. If we want to fix them, oh, I forgive because I want to fix him or to show that I am superior and I'm such a good Christian. Well, that's deadly, I forgive because I want to get closer to the Lord. This should be the priority, the main goal.
Right.
Salvation in the end.
One more
Angela,
question.
good luck.
Thank you. That was very beautiful.
Good luck.
We'll keep
God bless.
we'll keep some holy water on the side for you, Angela. One more question, Karina. How can we distinguish between a wound that needs healing and a cross that we are called to carry? In other words, it's something that the pain won't necessarily be healed, but it's still something that we embrace as
Okay,
joys.
here also depends, but I don't know about this I have to carry my cross. Okay, but this is not fully orthodox because our goal, is it's the resurrection. It's not the cross. We go through the cross to the resurrection.
So the cross is simply the medication, but you don't stay on medication. You take the remedy, the suffering that the saints speak about in this lifetime that the Lord permits. It has a purpose, and that is to cleanse us of sin, to free us of the spiritual disease.
yeah.
So
Um, Father Saint Sophia gives an example. Nothing from Mother Silvana comes to me like a woman who had a very, very terrible husband, terrible. And so maybe someone would have said, "Oh, this is my cross, poor me, this and that."
right.
But this woman, with his advice, she was able to lead a life very difficult, but with the eyes on the Lord, with prayer, and with handling that husband the best she could, because from what I remember, he never changed, So you can say, and St. Paisios has an example. I don't want to say much about this on the family life. So it depends on how we approach this. We can, so we all go, I mean, we cannot resurrect without the cross, right? So we all have a cross. But how we look at this cross, this is important. This is something in my life. This is very difficult. I cannot change. In this situation I gave you it was not about divorce or so, though some situations call for divorce. We know this. But it's something that, or I may decide I'm still in this situation. The cross, the wound, I open the wound to the Lord. I bless that person. I keep blessing. And you never know, but I'm not a victim. Because if I'm a victim, I'm done. I'm not with the Lord.
Yeah.
I'm just bearing this wound, aware of the wound, offering it like, Lord, come into this. And Lord, you find a solution for this. If it's a difficult disease, like being bad, paralyzed for 30 years or so, as I heard recently a story, then that's a different thing. It's a cross, yes, but it's still something that person that I listened to was saying that he went in the room of this woman who was paralyzed for 30 years, and the room was filled with light. Can you imagine? Because that woman was prayerful.
Yeah.
What can be more difficult, I'm thinking, than such a situation? And someone would be like, "Oh, poor me, everyone has to cater for me," or something. But that woman was praying and the light was there.
I think there's a story from an author whose last name was Georgiou. It's a book in Romanian called From the 25th Hour to Eternity. George's mother-in-law,
Oh, yes, I know.
the
She gave
mother
it to me.
translated it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I think one of the stories that's from that book is about maybe it was from Ascetics in the World. Anyways, someone no, now I remember. It's told by Metropolitan Nicholas Hudson Nicolau in his book, When God Is Not There. But the story is that this woman who's living in intense illness, chronic pain for long periods of time, and the priest is asked to go and to bring her communion. And when he walks into the room, he encounters Christ in her face.
Wow. Yeah.
He's transformed he himself is, he thinks he's bringing Christ to her. Instead, she imparts Christ to him as he walks in the room. The grace of God that's with her, and in the manner in which she has embraced, her illness as a means of being joined to Christ.
I want to share something very personal about the person who asked about the cross. I just heard Mother Silvana's voice today. Wow, I'm so far from that time of suffering intense. So it's amazing to see this, her answer was,
At a different time in your life when there was a lot of pain, you're saying?
yes,
When
yes.
you were
During that
sharing.
COVID and stuff after,
Mhm.
she said, your cross is to be happy, be joyful. To this day, so it's not that my cross, my life is not my suffering,
Right.
because if I keep suffering, yes, sure, I suffer. Yes, but do I stay on the suffering? Do I stay in the wound? And it is something we talk about, the vortex of trauma. We get stuck there, we never come out. And this is so problematic. So our cross is not really to suffer. Our life is not about the cross. It's about getting on the cross with the Lord in
Yeah.
order to go with him to resurrect. Go in the tomb, because this is actually the process even of psychotherapy. Go in the tomb, in the Hades of our pain, of our whatever happened to us, and we don't get there to stay there, right? We get there with the Lord 3 days in the tomb, whatever time we need, and then we resurrect with him. We don't stay there. So this is the problem. And I have a lot of personal experience with this, No. You feel like you have to stay there. You have to resolve everything. No, you touch there. Oh Lord, I'm going with you. I'm coming up with you. Back, up and down, like prostrations. This is our life. Up.
And every prostration is actually a sharing in the crucifixion and the resurrection of the Lord each time. So
Here you go.
I think this is a wonderful place for us to stop, Karina.
Yes, a beautiful
We
place. Thank you,
realize
Father.
we're not done with you, but just for tonight. This has been such a great blessing. We're so, so blessed by your work here. Thank you. Thank you.
A
for
great blessing
that.
for me, Father. Thank you.
And we look forward to our ongoing communication
Yes, yeah.
with you. Would you, I don't know who else we have on the our meeting tonight, but instead of us singing Christ is risen in English or in Greek or in the English or Greek melody, could you sing it for us in Romanian?
Oh, I don't know
Yeah.
if I.
Okay, that's all right.
It doesn't come to me.
Okay, all right.
Mom,
Yes,
you're
it
on
does.
mute.
Sorry?
No, somebody
Yes.
was talking to somebody else.
Hristos a înviat din morți, cu moartea premoarte călcând, și celor din mormânturi viață dăruim, Doamne.
Did you have a little help? Was there another voice singing along with you?
My strangled voice.
Oh, it was you, Mary. Okay. Amen. Amen. Thank
Amen.
you, everyone.
Thank you, Mary.
God bless everyone this week. We've been so blessed by your words tonight, Karina.
Thank you so much. I feel double blessed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Father, also.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye.
Next week again, Wednesday night.
Oh, okay.
Thank you